Hello my dear students, to the excited state. That means it can jump to the higher energy level. Around the nucleus there are circular paths in which the electrons are revolving around helium. Helium atom has how many electrons? Last class I had told you all about the line spectrum of hydrogen. If you ask me, ma'am, whether this is really important for the exam point of view, so even this can be asked for exam for 2 or 3 marks. You have to know at least minimum of 3 points out of these many. Hello my dear students, welcome back to session 6 on the chapter Structure of Atom. Last class we learnt about emission spectrum, absorption spectrum as well as continuous spectrum. Also we learnt about line spectrum of hydrogen. Today we learn about Bohr's model for hydrogen atom. Niels Bohr, by applying Planck's quantum theory to Rutherford's nuclear atomic model, put forward his new model, and it's called as Bohr's atomic model for hydrogen atom. So the postulates goes this way. The first one, the electrons revolve round the nucleus only in selected circular path called as orbits. What did he tell? The electrons are moving around the nucleus in the selected circular path, and he named it as orbits. These orbits are associated with definite energies and are called as energy shell or energy levels or quantum levels. So every circular orbits have a certain energy. Every circular orbit have a certain energy, and hence they are also called as energy level, energy shell or quantum levels. These were numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4 or the letters designated as K, L, M, N. So there is a nucleus. Rutherford had told there is a nucleus in an atom which has the protons and the neutrons. Now the electrons are moving around the nucleus in a particular circular orbits, and every orbit is associated with a certain amount of energy, hence it can also be called as energy level or energy shell, and they are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4 or letter K, L, M, N are used to designate the orbits. Okay. The second postulate is, as long as the electron remains in a particular orbit, it does not lose or gain energy. That is, I told you this is the nucleus, and if these are the orbits in which the electrons are revolving around the nucleus, these electrons, if this is the electron which is belonging to this particular orbit, as long as it is in its own orbit, it will not lose or gain energy. It will not lose or gain any energy. Okay. Therefore, these orbits are also called as stationary states. Thus, these orbits are also called as stationary states. Okay. The next postulate is like this. When transition occurs between two stationary states that differs in energy, the frequency of the radiation absorbed or emitted can be calculated using this formula. Now what is this transition? Now you have the nucleus, around that you have the stationary state or orbits, correct? This is my nucleus. Now if hydrogen has one electron which is there in the first shell, okay, it's in the first shell or first orbit. Now if this electron absorbs energy, they can jump from the ground state to the excited state. That means it can jump to the higher energy level when it is absorbing energy. Okay. Now how long can an electron be in excited state? It cannot be for a long time. It is very unstable because it is in the excited state. So obviously it has to come back to the ground state. Okay, so when the electrons, now the electron is in the excited state, if it come back to its own state, that is called as the ground state, then the extra energy what it absorbed is liberated in the form of light. Okay, or it is emitted in the form of radiation, and the frequency of that radiation can be calculated using this energy. So what did I tell? When the electron is in its own orbit, we call the electron is in the ground state. Now the electron can absorb energy and jump to the higher energy level. That higher energy level, which is not its own place, we call it as excited state. Okay. Now from the excited state, when it has to come back to its ground state, the extra energy what it had absorbed, it will liberate in the form of radiation. Okay, or it will emit in the form of a radiation, and the frequency of this radiation can be calculated using the formula nu is equal to delta E by H, where delta E is E2 minus E1 by H. What is E2? It is the excited state. What is E1? That is the energy of the ground state. E2 is the energy of the excited state. E1 is the energy of the ground state. H is Planck's constant, okay, which is 6.626 into 10 power minus 34 joule second. So that is the third postulate. Okay, the last one is an electron can move only in those orbits which has angular momentum is an integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Means, see, electron is moving in a circular path, so it has an angular momentum because the angle is changing and it is also moving. So it has got an angular momentum. See, if the angular momentum is equal to h by 2 pi, only then that orbit is possible. Okay, so what is it? The electron can move only in those orbits for which its angular momentum is integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Okay. In other words, angular velocity of an electron is quantized. That means it should be, this n should be 1, 2, 3. It cannot be some value in between this. It should always be an integer. That's why we call it as quantized. Okay. So the angular momentum of the electron should be equal to integral multiple of h by 2 pi, where n can be 1, 2, 3, etc. So once again, let's revise. So what are Bohr's postulates? In the center of the atom, there is a nucleus which is positively charged, and entire mass of the atom is concentrated in the nucleus. Around the nucleus, there are circular paths in which the electrons are revolving around, and they are called as orbits, or it is also called as energy level or energy shell, because they have a particular energy. They are designated as 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. or K, L, M, N. Correct? So there are circular paths around the nucleus which are called as orbits, in which the electrons are revolving around. They are designated with the letters 1, 2, 3, 4 or K, L, M, N. They are also called as energy level because they are associated with a particular amount of energy. They are also called as stationary state. Stationary state because as long as the electron is revolving in its own orbit, they will not lose or they will not gain energy. Okay. Now, if the electrons are jumping from its own orbit to the higher energy level, the energy is absorbed. When it comes back to its own energy level, that is when it is coming from its excited state to the ground state, then it will emit the energy in form of radiation, and that can be calculated with the formula nu is equal to delta E by H, where delta E is equal to T2 minus T1 by H. Okay, and the orbit is possible only when the angular momentum of the electron, that is mvr, is equal to integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So these are the postulates of Bohr's atomic model for hydrogen atom. I hope you have understood. Now coming to the exam point of view, this is very important question which can be asked for 3 or 4 marks. Okay, so it is really very important to learn all the postulates correctly. Here we have different expressions from the Bohr's theory. That is, what are the different formulas which we can get from Bohr's theory. First one is, stationary state of electrons are numbered in terms of principal quantum number. What is principal quantum number? You will understand in further sessions. Okay. So here n is equal to 1, 2, 3 means n is equal to 1 means it is the first stationary state or the first orbit. N is equal to 2, it is the second orbit. N is equal to 3, then it is the third orbit or the third stationary state. Okay. For hydrogen atom, the radii of the stationary state is expressed as Rn is equal to n square A naught, where A naught is equal to 52.9 picometer. It's also called as Bohr's orbit. Okay, A naught is also called as Bohr's orbit. Okay, so for hydrogen atom, what is N? In hydrogen atom, there is only one electron, correct? This is the nucleus and this is the first orbit. There is only one electron in the hydrogen atom. This is my hydrogen atom. You will agree, atomic number is 1. So it is the first orbit. So Rn is equal to n square A naught. What is n? 1. 1 square A naught is 52.9 picometer. So what is the radius of the hydrogen atom? Radius of the first orbit of the hydrogen atom, it is 52.9 picometer. That's why it is also called as Bohr's orbit. Okay. Now, energy of the stationary state. This was the radius of the stationary state or the radius of the orbit. Second, what we are getting here is energy of the stationary state is given as En is equal to minus RH1 by n square, where n is the orbit, which orbit, that number. Okay, and RH is called as Rydberg's constant, which is equal to 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 joules. Okay, so this is for hydrogen atom. Okay, next we learn about hydrogen-like atom. What do you mean by hydrogen-like atom? Hydrogen has one electron. Okay, now hydrogen-like atoms, examples are here. Helium. Helium atom has how many electrons? Atomic number of helium is 2. So how many electrons it should have? It should have 2 electrons. But helium plus, when I write, that means out of the 2 electrons, one is lost. It has become a cation. It has lost an electron. So He plus means it has got 1 electron. Now just like hydrogen atom, even helium has got 1 electron. So we call it as He plus ion or helium ion with plus 1 state. We call it as hydrogen-like ions. Okay. Similarly, lithium also. Lithium, if I take how many, what is the atomic number? 3. So it should have 3 electrons. But Li in plus 2 state. That means out of the 3, 2 electrons are lost. So how many electrons are there? Only 1 electron. So again it is like the hydrogen atom. Similarly, beryllium also. Beryllium, we have 4 electrons. Be plus 3, it has lost 3 electrons. So again it has got only 1 electron, just like hydrogen atom. So for ions containing only 1 electron, just like hydrogen atom, for them the energy of the stationary state can be given as En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 into Z square by N square. What is Z? Z is atomic number. It's the atomic number. Okay. And radius can be given as 52.9 N square by Z. Again, what is Z? Z is atomic number. Okay. So that is about some of the expressions which we have got from Bohr's theory. Next, we can also explain the spectrum of hydrogen based on Bohr's theory. Okay. So last class I had told you all about the line spectrum of hydrogen. There are 5 series of lines which we got: Lyman series, Balmer series, Paschen series, Brackett series and Pfund series. 5 series of lines we have got. So this also can be explained in terms of Bohr's theory. According to Bohr's postulate, radiation, that is energy, is absorbed if the electron moves from lower orbit to the higher orbit. So I told you, from the lower orbit, if this is the nucleus, we have, I am showing 3 or 4 orbits here. If this is the electron which is there in the lower orbit, it can go from the lower orbit to the higher orbit by absorbing energy. Okay. When it comes from the higher orbit to the lower orbit, it emits energy in the form of radiation. This we have learned from Bohr's postulates. Okay. Based on this, energy difference of 2 stationary state I can give as, see, energy difference of 2 stationary state, how I can give, that is delta E is equal to EF minus EI. That is, EF is the final state where the electron had jumped, EI is the initial state from where it has started. Okay, so this is EI, energy of the initial state. This is the energy of the final state, if it had absorbed energy. If it had emitted energy, this will be the initial state and this will be the final state. Okay, so here EF is the final state, EI is the initial state. We know from Bohr's theory, we have got the formula En is equal to minus RH into 1 by N square. Same thing I have put, minus RH by NF square, I have put NF whole square minus RH by Ni square. That was just N. Here I have put final and initial. Okay. Now minus into minus it gives plus. Okay, and RH is common, so RH is taken outside. 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. Correct. Now what is Rydberg's constant? It is 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 joules. We have just substituted that. So delta E is equal to 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 joule into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square, where Ni is the initial orbit and Nf is the final orbit respectively. Okay. So this is in terms of energy of the stationary state. Next we can get even the frequency of the absorption and the emission of the photon. Okay, that is when the energy is absorbed or when the energy is emitted in the form of radiations. Okay, then we can get the frequency of that radiation as frequency, that is nu frequency is equal to delta E by H. Okay, that is delta, from Planck's constant we got E is equal to H nu. So nu is equal to E by H, correct? So E is delta E we are writing because it is jumping from one stationary state to another. It can be from lower to higher or higher to lower. So totally it will absorb radiation or it will emit radiation. So the frequency of that radiation I can calculate by delta E by H. Now what is delta E from the previous form we got? Delta E is equal to RH into 1 by Ni square minus 1 by nf square, where ni is the initial orbit, nf is the final orbit. Okay, so RH 1 by ni square minus 1 by nf square divided by h is Planck's constant. So RH value is 2.18 into 10 power minus 18 joule, h value 6.626 into 10 power minus 34. So this, if I solve this, I keep it as it is, I'll get as 3.29 into 10 power 15. Okay, so if I want to calculate the frequency of the radiation absorbed or emitted, I can directly take the formula nu is equal to 3.29 into 10 power 15 1 by ni square minus 1 by nf square hertz or per second. Fine. So this is the formula for calculation of frequency. Next, in terms of wave number also we can calculate. Okay, so wave number is equal to nu by c. How did I get wave number is equal to nu by c? We know that c is equal to nu lambda. Okay, what I'll do is I'll write 1 by lambda is equal to, I've taken this onto the left hand side, I've written as 1 by lambda, and nu by c I will write. What is 1 by lambda? It's wave number. Wave number is equal to nu by c. So that's how I've got the formula. Wave number nu bar is equal to nu by c. What is nu? R, see here, delta E by h. So what is delta E? Directly we have written, this we have written, okay. Here this formula we have written here, RH by h 1 by ni square minus 1 by nf square, and the c I have written here. Now I know this value, RH by h is how much? 3.29 into 10 power 15. Substituted here. So 3.29 into 10 power 15. What is c value? 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Now solving this, per second gets cancelled. I am going to get the value as 1.09677 into 10 power 7 1 by ni square minus 1 by nf square per meter. So this formula yesterday I had already given y'all in the previous class. I had already given y'all as the calculation of the wave number of the radiations in the hydrogen spectrum. Correct? Yes. So it is the same formula which we have got here. Then in case of absorption spectrum, okay, the final state is greater than the initial state. Correct? No. See, now for example, I have, this is the nucleus. Okay, I have first state, I have second state, and I have the third state. So my electron is here in the first state. Now in the absorption spectrum, means it is absorbing energy, so it will go from the lower state to the higher state. So this is 1 2 3 5, right? This is Ni, this is Nf. So Nf is greater than Ni, correct? No, 3 is greater than 1, correct? Then, so once again, in the case of absorption spectrum, Nf is greater than Ni, and the term in the parenthesis is positive and the energy is absorbed. Okay, so whatever is there in the parenthesis, that will become positive and the energy is absorbed. On the other hand, in the case of emission spectrum, Ni is greater than Nf and delta E will be negative and the energy is released. So whenever you are getting a negative value for delta E, that means the energy is released. If you are getting the positive value for delta E, that means energy is absorbed. Okay, so here the second line, if you want to know, that is when is Ni greater than Nf. For example, it is in the excited state, now it is coming back to its ground state. So this is Ni and this is Nf. So Ni is 3 and Nf is 1. So obviously I will be greater than 1. Correct, no? Got it? So that is about the explanation for line spectrum of hydrogen based on Bohr's theory. Okay, so I hope you have understood this part. If you ask me, ma'am, whether this is really important for the exam point of view, you need to know the formulas. How did we get these values is not so very important, but of course you need to know the formula. That is, delta is equal to RH 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. Also you have to know the frequency is 3.29 into 10 power 15, 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square. Also you have to know this wave number is equal to 1.09677 into 10 power 7, 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square per meter. Okay, for your numericals you will require these formulas. Okay, so next we'll solve one or two problems today. So we have the first problem. What are the frequency and the wavelength of a photon emitted during transition from n is equal to 5 to n is equal to 2? Okay, so we'll take the formula. We have to calculate what? Frequency and wavelength. So frequency is equal to delta E by H. Okay, now what is delta E? That is RH by 1 by Ni square minus 1 by Nf square by H. Okay, so I'll just put the values. 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18 divided by 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 by, what is initial state? 5. To which state? 2. So 1 by 5 square minus 1 by 2 square. Okay, so I can also take the other way around, but when I write the delta E value, I have to put it in the minus sign. I can also write this as, if you are getting confused, I can write this as 2 square by 5 square, but then what is happening is it's coming from the higher energy to the lower energy level, so obviously energy will be emitted. Okay, the radiation energy is getting emitted there. That's why you have to write the final answer with a negative sign. Okay, so we'll just write like that. You will get the answer here as 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18 by 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34. Here you will get it as 100, 25 minus 4, that is 21 by 100 you will get. 2 2s are 4, 5 into 5 is 25, 25 4s are 100, so I've taken an LCM 100, 25 minus 4, that is 21 by 100. Okay, so the entire value you will get it as 6.912 into 10 to the power 14. Okay, this is the frequency. Okay, now we have to calculate what? We have to calculate the wavelength. So wavelength is, if I take the formula, C is equal to nu lambda. Wavelength, lambda is equal to C by nu. What is C? 3 into 10 to the power 8 divided by nu is 6.912 into 10 to the power 14. So if I solve this, answer as 0.4341 into 10 to the power minus 6. Now I'll just move the points 1, 2, 3. So I'll get it as 434.1 into 10 to the power minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, minus 9. Minus 9 meters, which is nothing but 434 nanometers. You have not written the, this is hertz or per second. Okay, how did I get it? Here this is joules, this is joules second. Joules and joules gets cancelled. You have per second which is remaining, which you write it as hertz. So this is how you solve the problem of this kind. Okay, so next one, if you see, calculate the energy associated with the first orbit of helium ion. Okay, and what is the radius of this orbit? What do you know from here? N is equal to 1. So N is equal to 1 and energy formula is En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18 Z square by N square. okay, and the unit is joule. We'll substitute here. For helium, what is Z? Z is equal to 2. N is equal to 1. So minus 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18. Z is 2 square by 1 square. Okay. So you have minus 2.18 into 10 to the power minus 18 into 4. 2 2s are 4. So the final answer will be minus 8.72 into 10 to the power minus 18 joules. So this is the energy associated with the first orbit. Now what you have to calculate second? You have to calculate the radius also. Formula for the radius is Rn is equal to 52.9 n square by z. Picometer is the unit. Okay. So it is 52.9. What is n? First orbit. So 1 square divided by z is what? Atomic number is 2. Picometer. So what will be the answer? 52.9 divided by 2. That is 26.45 picometer. Correct? So that is about the calculation for the energy associated with the first orbit and the radius of this orbit. Okay, I hope you have understood what is Bohr's atomic model, how did we explain the line spectrum based on that, and some of the formulas also we have got, that is for the energy as well as the radius. Okay, next we will see what are the limitations of Bohr's atomic model. First one, Bohr's model failed to account for finer details of hydrogen spectrum. Now, we learned the line spectrum of hydrogen. We got 5 different groups of lines in the line spectrum of hydrogen. But when it was observed very carefully, there was, for example, if this is the line spectrum of hydrogen, this is the first group of line, these lines were further having fine lines. Okay, those fine lines, how did it come, or the explanation for that Bohr's couldn't give. Okay, so here for instance, splitting of the lines in the spectrum into closely spaced lines, he could not explain. So that is the first limitation. Second, Bohr's model was also unable to explain spectrum of atom containing more than one atom. He could explain only the spectrum of the atoms containing one electron. More than one electron, if it is present, he could not explain. Okay. Next, Bohr's model was unable to explain Zeeman's effect, that is splitting of the spectral lines in the presence of magnetic field. Now, during the formation of the line spectrum, if magnetic field was applied, then the lines would split up further. Okay, that splitting is called as Zeeman effect, which Bohr could not explain. Also, if electric field was applied, then also there would be splitting, and that effect is called as Stark effect. Okay, even that Bohr could not explain. So Bohr could not explain about the Zeeman effect and Stark effect, that is splitting up of the spectral lines further in the presence of magnetic field and electric field respectively. Okay, so that is also limitation of Bohr's atomic model. The last limitation is the Bohr's model could not explain the ability of atom to form molecules by chemical bond. So he could not explain how exactly they reacted to form the chemical bonds there, or how the reactions actually happened. So that is also the drawback of Bohr's atomic model. So even this can be asked for exam for 2 or 3 marks. You have to know at least minimum of 3 points out of these many. Okay. So I hope you have understood today's class. Next class we'll learn about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and the numericals. Okay. Thank you very much, students. Stay curious, stay focused.